Welcome to the Qualco Live Lounge. Today, I'm joined on the sofa by Tim Tomlinson, who is Executive Client Director at Sopra Steria. And then from Qualco UK, we have Jan-Michael Lacy, who is Director of Sales and Marketing, and Managing Director Christian Jacob. So welcome to the sofa, all three of you. Great to have you with us.
Thank you.
Who are Sopra Steria for those who are watching and aren't familiar with the brand? What does the business do and offer?
Well, that is a very good question. So Sopra Steria is probably one of the biggest companies, biggest brands that you've never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
We're a sort of European IT services business headquartered in France, but in the UK, we're really a BPO business. So to give you a flavour of the sorts of things that we do, we run shared service operations, we run customer contact centre operations. Our biggest contract in the UK at the moment is with National Savings and Investments. So we run all customer contact centre operations for them. They've got 24 million customers. Mm-hmm. Our sister company that's shared service, NHS Shared Services, we pay around 2/3 of the people that work in the NHS. So these really are large scale operations. And then we have a regulated business which our debt management business is part of. And that's quite a large operation in its own right. We service public and private sector clients and do a lot of work through the DRS framework with Qualco.
Mm-hmm. Well, that kind of segues nicely into finding out a bit more about from you, Christian and Jan, about how you know Tim and how you came to work with Sopra Steria.
That's probably best led by you, Christian.
I think, it goes back to a day where Jan and I were working on the previous framework, and we actually weren't successful in the framework. Sopra Steria were, and we went our busy way trying to work on other opportunities. We did notice in the market that perhaps Sopra Steria were not getting any traction in the framework as it moved on the next few months, but you were working closely with our colleagues in Athens. So Tim, you were in the office one day, and we had quite a frank conversation. And it was, you're on the framework, we're not on the framework. Is there any way that we could actually work together so we could it might be more obvious to the buyers out there that we could do this together. So we did have a little chat about how we could be the back end and Sopra could be the front end on opportunities that are coming our way. And that's exactly what we did. Tim, have you got?
Yeah, it was interesting. I think you were quite confused about why I was even in the office talking to you. But the DRS process predated me, so I didn't realise or didn't fully appreciate how disappointed Qualco were not to get on the framework themselves. So I wasn't aware that there was sort of quite so much of a sort of feeling of competitiveness between the two organisations. It was actually a sort of a co-partner of ours, a guy I used to work with at Arrow that put me onto Qualco, right. Martin O'Donnell, because you guys do a lot of work with Martin and Detstream, and so that put me onto you guys. But actually, the more we talked, the more we realised that the partnership could work quite nicely, didn't it? Because you were interested in different elements of that end-to-end service than we were. Because going back to my point around what Sopra Steria do, we're really interested in leveraging the scale of our operations and delivery of a service, and we use technology and we use partners to do that, and Qualco have become a really important part of that. That solution.
Oh right, so what does the partnership look like today then, would you say?
So I would say Sopra are plugged into central government in a very, very big way. Mm-hmm. One that we could only probably dream of achieving ourselves. But the Qualco element is very, very specialised. Probably more specialised than you guys would take the time to focus on yourselves. So I think it's a classic case that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Mm-hmm. So coming together, we've got the comfort that the government will be looking for from a company of Sopra's size and scale, but they get the service delivery and the capability through the technology that we at Qualco deliver.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like the perfect match then, really.
It's a very interesting dynamic, isn't it? Because I would say Qualco they're a supplier to us, they're a partner of ours, and we're also Sopra Steria Financial Services. They're a supplier to Qualco because we're a DCL on their panel. So we've got all dimensions covered there in terms of the relationship, and it works really well, doesn't it?
And I think it's fair to say that since we have created this combined offering, that we've been relatively successful in when we've been taking it to market.
Yeah.
We've worked really well together on the tender side of things. We've worked really well on the integration side of things. The teams work really well. We work with a whole host of other partners, and as you say, when you operate as a supplier, you work alongside other suppliers. And obviously, when you're working as a client to us, then we'll obviously take our instruction from you guys.
Yeah,
I think where you said, I can't remember the exact wording, reasonably successful,
Yep.
mildly successful. I mean, it's been completely successful.
Yeah.
Every opportunity we've gone for as a combined force,
I was being humble.
we've won, which is a great situation to be in.
yeah.
And long may it continue.
And so how do you work together then to bring about sort of any change in the market? Is that something that's important to you working in this industry, to make a kind of impact?
Yeah, it's an interesting point, that, because what the focus of the conversation today is on the partnership and how we're working together, I guess, to transform the collections market in the public sector. But between us, we've got a lot of experience of working with clients in the private sector, and I think it's fair to say that the private sector, when it comes to collections and recoveries, are probably ahead of the public sector in the sort of treating customers fairly, looking after vulnerable customers. We've both got a lot of experience of working with financial services and the wider private sector on those aspects. We've actually both got sort of what I would call symbiotic technology offerings for that market as well, which we're looking at working together on, aren't we, as well?
I think when we worked in isolation, there was only so much that we could do, and I think some of the opportunities that are coming our way need a breadth of experience. And it's really clear when we work together, when we work with all of our partners, and especially in this instance with Sopra Steria, that we have the sum of our parts is so much greater that we are able to get experience from the different sectors that we're working in. We're putting together to create a more compelling product over time, and we're able to showcase that to all the different industry sectors. But we're primarily focusing on the government work at the moment, aren't we?
I think what we're seeing and hearing from the government as a whole is they are really receptive to new ideas, to new ways of working.
Okay.
Which I've found quite refreshing.
Yeah.
I think traditionally they have been quite reticent in embracing new technologies, new ways of working. But the message that certainly I'm hearing loud and clear is, if you have something that you think will add value, we are really keen to at least trial it and see what the immediate effects of that are, which is a great position to be in.
So we've heard, obviously, we know we're all living through this unprecedented cost of living crisis. You're talking about public sector, where obviously there are going to be some government departments that have to collect, enormous amounts of debt. So it'd be interesting to hear, what are some of the support services out there that you've been working on to support the kind of customers and the consumers?
Yeah, well, Sopra Steria for some time now, we've been developing a self-help tool called Support Point. And if you think about that in the context of the cost of living crisis and some of these large government departments that are facing a real dilemma because they're owed an incredible amount of money, and they have an obligation to try and recover that money, but equally they know they've got quite a large proportion of vulnerable customers. So that creates a real challenge for them, because how do they make sure they're collecting as much as they can while not having an impact on those customers that are vulnerable and struggling financially already? And that's where Support Point will come in, because it's a tool they can log on, they answer a series of questions. It will help them to explain the vulnerabilities that they have, how they're impacting their life and having an impact on their ability to maintain their finances. And then what that will do is it will signpost them to support, both from the organisation who they owe the money to, but also wider government, charities, and all manner of different types of support.
And from Qualco's point of view, you have Toglet, of course.
Yes, Toglet was originally formed to provide support for customers with multiple debts. If you put yourself in their shoes, being in debt is a particularly frightening place to be. And at times, if you've got multiple creditors or multiple debt collection agencies all trying to contact you at the same time, it becomes incredibly overwhelming. So the original concept behind Toggle It was try to reduce the amount of contact attempts that customers in debt were going to be facing, and try to streamline that through a central process, a central set of tools and services. And that was the original ethos behind Toggle It as a concept.
And again, just following on what Jan said, that trying to create a solution where the customer can provide solutions for themselves, and it's not linked directly to the client or to the request for repayment, to provide education and to give them more understanding of the situation that they're in is what we're trying to achieve with Toggle It. That it's uncoupled from the client strategy. It's actually trying to put them in a better situation and then revisit the whole process of being in debt and debt recovery.
And we think that some of these large government departments, the combination of Toggle It and Support Point could be a really powerful solution for a lot of their indebted customers.
And what does that mean then in terms of the next sort of evolution of this partnership then between Qualco and Sopra Steria? Where do you see it going from here, and how do you see it sort of strengthening?
I think from the Qualco perspective, we've only really started to scratch the surface of what the combined offering is capable of delivering. To Christian's earlier point, both Qualco and Sopra are developing customer-facing solutions to try to provide enhanced support, to try to remove a certain amount of stress that those in severe financial difficulty are facing. And I think that is particularly exciting. They're very complementary, the products. There's nothing in the way of conflict between them. And when they're brought together, I think great things are going to happen.
Our industry's trying to make leaps and bounds forwards with regards to financial wellness. We'll keep talking about financial wellness and trying to support consumers and customers on their journey to become debt-free. I think we're in some tricky times. We've certainly got some tricky years ahead of us. So it's really important that we focus on delivering these products and really making a difference to the customers, because we've always been in a situation where customers are not, that they're not trying to stay indebted. Lots of customers are definitely trying to make inroads into the current financial debt that they have, but they just need the tools, and need the processes, and need the help. And I think these types of partnerships are really beneficial moving forward in helping educate customers.
Yeah, as you said, sort of tricky times in that we're living in kind of a cost of living crisis. Of course, it's difficult, isn't it? So, Tim, what about you? Where do you see the partnership going?
Well, absolutely, we need to continue along the path that we are with the DRS framework. That's been extended for another year, so we're we're going to be very focused on that until the end of 2026. There'll be new frameworks coming out. We've talked about how the technologies can really work together quite nicely. That's Toggle It and Support Point, which I think is worth a mention, to support the vulnerable customers and those in financial difficulty. Qualco have also got software services as well, as part of the wider group, and Sopra Steria has got a great heritage in as a systems integrator as well. So there are opportunities for us to work more broadly around platform and software as a service. So I think there's miles more to do, isn't there?
Yeah, very much so.
Well, a case of watch this space then. Lots of exciting things coming down the line by the sounds of it. Thank you so much, Tim, and Christian and Jan Michael, of course, for joining us in the Live Lounge today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.